you don't want to get involved in politics because it's too stressful and everybody's just yelling. I get it. I totally get it. I think we should all be screaming from the rooftops when it comes to kids.
Yeah.
This crap is going to become their normal if we don't do something about it.
Yeah. It's a more extreme version of, oh, well, when I have a bigger house, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
When I get a better car, I'll be happy.
You're right.
When I get here in my career, I'll be happy. Like, the mark is always going to move.
Yeah.
But you can always change your job, sell your house, sell your car. You can't just reverse these irreversible procedures.
Yeah. I don't have to change my vocabulary and my knowledge on biology to make you feel comfortable. It is not my job to cater to your emotions. It is so effing stupid. Welcome to Under the Sun Podcast. I'm Ilea.
And I'm Irene. Grab a cup of coffee and your comfiest sweats and join us every Monday as two best friends discuss everything from raising free-range gremlins to business and really everything under the sun.
Let's get started, and thanks for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night. I feel like a radio host.
Look at you, Frasier, you.
And I'm listening. Right? No, did anybody watch Frasier? Just me?
We're just old.
Do you like Frasier?
Yeah. I didn't as a kid, though. I do as an adult.
I remember being like 8 years old and watching Frasier and be like, oh, he's drinking sherry.
But I did notice my kids are starting to understand canned laughter. Because Riker's like, Dad, why do I keep hearing laughing? It's like, oh, I didn't even hear it. So
yeah. I didn't. Is there laughter on laugh tracks?
Yeah. Oh, I think they were filmed in front of a live audience. So it's like people laughing, but still that like, Dad, why do I hear laughing?
I love it. I love Frasier. This is our plug for Frasier. Sponsored by Frasier, a show that's been off the air for like 40 years.
No, it's coming back.
Well, it did come back. It was only okay.
I liked it. Season 2 is coming out tomorrow.
Maybe I just didn't. I have a really hard time with reboots. Like Gilmore Girls reboot was trash. Like all
that's because they kept the cycle going of. Right, I didn't watch it, and I didn't watch Gilmore Girls, but didn't they keep the cycle going? Like, didn't it end with her being a single mother?
Well, it ended up with
not
Rory getting pregnant,
and not knowing who the father was. Yeah, so it's like
honestly,
way to repeat some generational
maybe that's an
cycles.
episode we should do. Is like. Because when I was a kid, when I was watching Gilmore Girls, I was like, oh, yeah, that's the dream. They're so independent. It's so awesome. And you watch it back, you're like, whoa, Lorelai's a hoe and makes really bad decisions. And everybody caters to her because she blows up and is very dramatic.
Oh, no.
And Rory follows into her footsteps. And, like, don't get me wrong, we're not anti-single moms. Like, if you find yourself in that situation, absolutely keep the baby. It's right. Like, that is, there is no option. Like, murder is not the option. Yeah. Is not the answer. And you make do with what happens, but like, and that child is a blessing. But like, you play with fire, you get burned. Don't have sex on wedlock. Anyways, wow, that is not what we're talking about today.
But we are going to anger the internet.
We are going to anger the internet, guys. Buckle up, because we're also sitting like this because we just interviewed. You probably watched it last week. Yeah. How much did you love that?
It was amazing.
Conversation.
So amazing.
I'm going to eat so many more organs. Great episode with him, and what a wealth of knowledge, and super like so calming to talk to. I like it when we have conversations and it doesn't feel like, where am I going to take this conversation? Where am I going to take this conversation? Oh my God, oh my God. Like,
or even leaving the conversation of, oh great, one more thing that's trying to poison my family. I can't make any good decisions. Like, it's good to have like that uplifting, like, hey, just make it a good step. Yeah. Just make a good choice.
For sure. Okay. So did you watch the reel I posted on our account?
Yes. Did I see my phone going off every 10 seconds with feisty comments? Yes.
Yeah. I just turn off my notifications. Do you have your notifications on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have all of my notifications.
Well, I don't always
off,
check
every
the app.
single app.
I'll read the notification, and if the notification like gives me justification to go click it, I will. Otherwise, I'm like, okay, you're just someone throwing a tantrum. I'll ignore you.
Okay, so we'll play it now.
Screw you, Taylor Swift. She's got so many gifts thanks to all of you. And how does she thank this nation? She says the reason she's voting for Kamala Harris is because of Tim Walz's LGBTQ stance. Do you know what Tim Walz has done on the LGBTQ front? Let me tell you what's going to happen. A little girl sitting in Wisconsin who's maybe on the spectrum, maybe has acne, maybe is a little heavy set, maybe feels upset because the parents are getting divorced, something like that, is going to find herself down a rabbit hole on Reddit. And her parents aren't going to know because they're getting a divorce and they're not focused on her right now. And she's going to spend hour after hour on that thing. And Reddit's going to tell her she's actually a boy. And she's going to get sucked into this gender cult. And she's going to say, Mom and Dad, I want puberty blockers into cross-sex hormones, which will sterilize her and deprive her of all sexual pleasure for the rest of her life. And they're going to say, no, you're a girl. And she's going to say, but I wanted top surgery, this benign thing, this double mastectomy where I'll have tubes coming out of me and I'll never breastfeed a child. I want that too. And they're going to say, no, and she's going to go to a judge in Minnesota. And because of Tim Walz, the court will take custody of her, use the Medicaid funds in Minnesota to provide her all of those things. And when this girl inevitably comes to the conclusion that she didn't want any of this, that it only added to her problems, which were the divorce and the acne and the puberty and not any trans issue, who is she going to go to then? And that's what Taylor Swift just endorsed for your children. So screw you, Taylor Swift.
There's a lot of things in politics. I like politics. Actually, I don't like politics. What I do like is that, and I like Allie Beth Stuckey's phrase on it, is that politics matter because policy matters because people matter, and everything trickles down.
Yeah.
And really, the only reason I got into like caring about this stuff is because, for one, 2020 woke me up like no one's business about everything: big food, big pharma, big ag, like how much people are trying to kill our kids and try to trans them. Yeah. But there's a lot of things I'm like, whatever. And I'll share my opinion sometimes. But there's one thing I'm hard and fast about. You will absolutely not take over the kids. Like, leave the kids alone. Yeah. So I posted this reel of Megyn Kelly from a Tucker Carlson live event interview because it's she goes after Taylor Swift, which will probably be something in this thumbnail so that we can drive traffic. But like, she talks about how Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Okay. But what that really means is and Tim Walz, what that really means is that she endorsed the state taking kids who want to transition into what is the question though, from their parents so that they can give them puberty blockers, basically permanently sterilize them because it does have long-term consequences, or giving them like gender reassignment surgery as children. Yeah. And there's a lot of things I'm like, I don't care what you do as an adult. You can, I said this in the comment, you can identify as a penguin and get a tail surgically installed. I do not care as long as it's not taxpayer funded. Yeah. And you just leave the kids alone. Yeah. Like, why are we, I mean, truly, it's the devil. It's the devil that's coming after our kids and coming after the next generation. I was on the hunt for a coloring book or just activities for the fall for my kid.
Cute little pumpkins.
Yes.
Cute little spiders.
Yeah. And everything I found, in particular, I was looking for a coloring book for my kid to color in, and all of them had witches, ghosts. I'm not terribly opposed to mummies, but they were all scary. And we were in Joanne Fabrics, and she saw a ghost that was scary, and she talked about it for 2 weeks. She was like, "Ghost, you keep me safe." I'm like, "Yes, I'll keep you safe." I'm like, I know other parents are feeling like this, so I created my own freaking coloring book. Woohoo! And I'm sponsoring our own episode. So if you want to buy it, I'll pop up a picture here because I actually gave all my promos out to like her and our friend Taylor, and it's all happy fall things. So like little cute spiders, and it's all happy eyes and acorns, scarecrows, like a whole bunch of cute things. And it's all paired with Bible verses, one Bible verse per page. And you can color in the Bible verse. What'd your kids think?
They loved it. They think they love cute things. And the bigger the eyeballs, the cuter they are.
What I'm going to do is now for every single holiday, I'm going to make a Christian version of coloring books, and they're just going to get cuter and cuter because this is my first time doing this.
I love it.
If you want,
it's so adorable.
If you want to support, we'll put a link in the description. We would love for you to order it and like send me pictures of your kids coloring with it. That's the greatest joy. Yeah. So, that's it.
That's our ad.
That's my promotion for myself.
I love it. I heard someone saying, "Why is teen drinking illegal?" And it's because they're not developed enough to understand the consequences of what they're doing. Yeah. But you're going to sterilize them and let them have surgical procedures that are irreversible when they're not even old enough to decide they want to smoke a cigarette, join the army, or drink an adult beverage. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And like, it's particularly evil before, I mean, it's all evil, but for a kid that's like before 10 and they're like, yeah, this boy is now identifying as a girl. He does not understand. Like kids play dress up all the time. They just think of it as something fun. Yeah. The adults, the safe, air quotes, safe adults in the family should be like, hey, like there's an issue here, either like mentally or environmentally. Like what are we watching on our screens? Are we on social media? Because it's kind of become a social contagion.
Yeah. Like if it's long term, I don't know. My kids will play dress up. My son has put on something before because my daughter has dresses that spin. Yeah. He'll put it on and he'll spin, and I don't make a big deal of it. And then I take it off. I'm like, okay, let's leave that for your sister. I feel like when someone's like, oh, he clearly chose a skirt.
Yeah.
There you go. It's like, no, he saw his sister make an umbrella and he wanted to make an umbrella.
Yeah. It's the... Like,
but that doesn't mean you go buy them.
My kid is 2.
Sparkly things.
Yes. My kid is 2 and a half-ish. Yeah. But she will like think she's a lion for like a day. She's like, I'm a lion. Roar!
Yeah.
Am I gonna go have surgical claws installed, like put in her permanently? That sounds cool, but no.
My daughter walks around saying she's a puppy or a cat and licking me.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm gonna throw a fit to my local public school that they need a litter box installed.
Yeah, it's
because she's 3.
We should be the wise. Like, you can also, like, there's phases of adulthood too of like right now I really like sewing, and like we attach our identity to things all the time. What we do, the crafts we do, we're the people with the great lawn, we're the people who always go to church no matter what. Like, we attach our identity to these things, and we need to teach our kids that, like, yeah, you can like lions. Yeah. You can like ballerinas, but like, just because, or even you like something maybe that's on like marketed to girls. Yeah. That does not mean you are a woman. No. And also, God does not make mistakes. Yeah. Like, okay. So, if I were to say like how to have an argument, like, because like that's a lot of times where people get hung up of not talking out against these things. Because like I'm fine with like, you don't want to get involved in politics because it's too stressful and everybody's just yelling. I get it. I totally get it. I think we should all be screaming from the rooftops when it comes to kids. Yeah. To standing in the gaps for them, because they don't know what's going on. They just, like, this crap is going to become their normal if we don't do something about it. Yeah.
It's already becoming the normal. You can't go to the library without, like, we have to screen all the books the kids pick up at the library because front and center. Yep. They're all about, oh, who am I? Yeah. What am I going to be? It's like, no.
That's my next book. I'm going to write a book about like who God says you are for kids versus like, which I'm sure there's books out there on it right now, but it's like, God doesn't make mistakes. And I know a lot of people are like, well, not everybody has a Christian worldview.
Well, that's fine. But if you believe in evolution, then evolution wouldn't make a mistake. Yeah. If you were so inclined. But
yeah, you're right. And that like Irene said, kids' frontal lobes are not fully developed until they're like 25. Boys, it's like 25. Girls, it's like 24, right? 23?
Somewhere around there, but yeah.
I feel like my frontal lobe wasn't developed till I was like 28. Like, I swear, I know that probably sounds bad for me, but like that's when I really came into like long-term consequences and actions and decisions. Kids who just want to eat Oreos for breakfast, lunch, and dinner should not be able to say, teacher, which this does happen for the people like in our comment section who are like, this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
It's literally happening to a couple in, I believe, Minnesota right now. I'll put the link in the description for everybody to read, but they are taking, like, if a kid goes to school and they say, I told my mommy I'm a girl and she won't let me be a boy, they can report you to DCFS and take your kids away and go and transition them without your consent. Who owns your kids? Not that we own human beings, but like...
But also, I pushed you out. You are mine until I say you're not. We created them
and God gave them to us. They did not give them to the government. Yeah. The fact that like... the amount of violence I would bestow if that happened. Yeah. Like, no. That is like, who is in charge of your child if, like, we want the best for our kids. If we're listening to this podcast and we listen to podcasts about like things to feed our kids, like things like, Montessori, like we do all these things like for what that's best for our kids. And yet for some reason, when it comes to this gender identity, it is that, like, oh, now the parents suddenly don't know what's right for their kids and the government needs to get involved and then the taxpayers need to fund it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't care if you're a grown man and you want to cut stuff off, or a woman. I want to attach. Like, I don't care. Not my business. But I'm not going to change. You're a grown up who can understand, if I cut this body part off, it will never come back.
Well, I would argue, I don't care what they do, but some people are so caught up in their feelings that like once they get it done, like it doesn't fix any of the problems. A lot of people think like, oh, if I get, because what it is they take the penis and they invert it and they try to make it into a vagina where they have to then like every day stretch it to keep it open, which is like, isn't that awful? Not natural at all. And they're saying that this is normal. It's not normal. and they're expecting that this surgery will then, or these surgeries will fill in the void.
Yeah.
What it is it's creating a long-term client for the doctors.
Yeah.
And the likelihood of regret is like 98%.
Yeah. And it's, I guess, no different, but it's a more extreme version of, oh, well, when I have a bigger house, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
When I get a better car, I'll be happy.
You're right.
When I get here in my career, I'll be happy. Like, the mark is always going to move.
Yeah.
But you can always change your job, sell your house, sell your car. You can't just reverse these irreversible procedures.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of threw me. Like, that was great.
Because the argument I keep seeing on at least our comment section is, it's proven that people get happier. And I'm like, have you seen the depressive nature of this country? People aren't getting happier.
Yeah.
They're getting what they want. They're getting a temporary hit of dopamine from like, oh, I'm getting this thing I said I wanted. And then it's going to fade.
Well, and statistically, for the first year, they're happier. By year 3, they're regretting their decision. By year 10, the likelihood of is really high. And I'll probably bleep that word because it will take us off YouTube.
Yeah.
But like statistically, happy for the first 1 to 3 years ish, and then by like the 3 to 5, 10, it is not good.
Yeah.
And we're expecting kids who don't have fully developed frontal lobes to make those long-term decisions. It's weird. It's predatory. It's like, it's a weird form of grooming, and also like sterilization. Like, why do we need to sterilize the next generation? It's super weird to like promote.
Are you in search of tinctures for adults, teens, and kids? We have the brand for you. It is Bioray. They have the whole spectrum of parasites, liver, gut, sex drive, everything. They have everything you need in tincture form, and it's gentle and it's safe for your kids and your family. So you should buy it.
Yeah. Check out bioray.com. Use code UTSP10 for 10% off your orders. Their website is super helpful if you have any questions. Their customer service is one of the best. You can message them on anything. Like, I had a dropper clog, and I just wanted to make sure, like, hey, is this clogged, or am I growing like a bacteria that is going to be harmful or whatever? They were super helpful. I sent pictures, and their response is amazing. So you can also go and fill out this like questionnaire thing on their website, and they will help direct you into what kind of supplements you need.
Yeah, because it's really hard to determine. Like, it's hard to like observe your own body and be like, what do I actually need? And they'll like ask leading questions so that they can help guide you to what you really need. So bioray.com, code UTSP10.
We shouldn't let every single emotion rule our like, or thought take root. Get your kids off of social media. Like, if at this rate, like, my kid's gonna have a flip phone until she's 18, and or depends on the child, because I'm sure developmentally, but like, I like snuck social media at like 12, and like, it's not good for your brain.
Yeah.
I can see that it hasn't been good for like my dopamine things. That's why I've happened to make extreme like cuts and restrictions on my phone where like it turns off after 15 minutes, and I get 15 minutes a day, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But
where was I going with that? Hang on, there was something. It was the flip phone.
Well, I just want to keep your kids off social media. Okay. Don't let them watch TV all the time.
And it's like, well, I don't want to have that fight. It's like, that is your job as their parent to fight. And so I was at work the other day, and my husband took the kids to the park, and my kids are on the top of the playground at the top of their lungs. My son starts, and my daughter chimes in. They start singing, put your head on my shoulder. And they're both yelling shoulder. And this older lady was like, started laughing. She's like, is he singing? And my husband goes, yeah. She goes, oh, yeah. Like, I'm so surprised he listens to that song. I can't get my kids or my grandkids or whoever to listen to anything other than like some pop star that's current. Geez. And my husband leaned over, and it's in a nice way, not in a condescending way. He's like, hey, the one way to get him to not listen to that. She goes, what? He goes, they don't know they exist. They don't ask to listen to it. And obviously not to say like, I will still, as in that interview with the chef, he was saying, do something paired, like cooking with something. Hey, anytime I'm doing the dishes, my kids are getting doused with NSYNC. So it's like, not to say they're never listening to anything that's not holy, but it's like,
no, that's not
my
the
kids
goal.
Will just not know. Nicki Minaj is probably old now because we're old, but like, they're not going to know she exists until like, they just, they're going to sneak it. And there are going to be times where they hide stuff from me, and I'm aware that I'm obviously not saying I'm a perfect parent, but we so limit what our kids watch, and it makes the fight easier if they're not exposed. If they don't know it's there, they don't ask for it.
I would argue that the parents who say like whatever that parent was is that they're passive parenting, they're not active parenting. Like, if everything is a free-for-all, where are the boundaries? Like, what a gift. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Boundaries are such a gift to be like, hey, kids, like, yeah, this song is super fun to dance to. It has some great beats. Morally, it's kind of sus. Like, we should, let's talk about this. Like, this isn't like
an
appropriate age. No, not
because
never.
The way that, not that you're saying never, but like in the way that we grew up, it's like, don't ever listen to rock music. You're going to go straight to hell, whatever. So then what's the first thing I could do when had some freedom was like, I'm going to go listen to that and see if I'm really going to get in a car crash on the way home if I listen to it. But
that's some risky business.
Right. Opening up the conversation of, hey, why do you think this song, I mean, mine are 3 and 5. They don't need to be hearing those song lyrics anyways. But like when they get a little older, instead of just shutting it down and saying, we just don't listen to that in ours, period, or get out of my house. It's like, okay, that doesn't work.
Too much,
But having that, you have to start while they're this age to have that openness to conversate, to be like, hey, let's talk.
Yeah.
Because if you wait to talk until they're 13, they're not going to want to talk to you.
Yeah, and
they may still not like your answer. And then at that point, it's like, well, sorry, then I've said it to my kids before. It's like, well, God gave you to me to teach you how to be a good person. Sorry, this is my answer.
I think it's a lot with the gentle parenting we talked about before that I feel very radio host today. I don't know why. Because I'm like passionate about the subject.
Like side turn.
Yeah, it's like, Herb. I don't know why Herb is there. Never mind. But with gentle parenting, we think that the positive thing with gentle parenting, and this is again, being gentle with your kid is good.
Yes, don't slam your kid up against the wall.
Yeah, we're not talking about abuse. We're talking about passive parenting.
Yeah,
is being passed off as gentle parenting. Mm-hmm. And we think that the gift is like, oh yeah, I'm a great parent because I let her do whatever. I let her decide. That isn't a gift. It kind of lets it, like, I'll use the example of bedtime. Like, Leo understands. She's like, she'll look at me and she'll be like, I need to go night-night. Like, if I push her past that point, or she'll get really angry. It's a good, healthy thing to have expectations of your kids and set boundaries and rules, because, like, then there's a context for them to operate within. Yeah. Like, if everything is a free-for-all, then also nothing ever feels special. Like, like sometimes I'll turn on, like, we listen to a lot of Forrest Frank. Mm-hmm. Like, Forrest Frank, we have a great, like, worship playlist that we play a lot of the times. But sometimes you just need, like, a 2000s playlist. Yes. And to crank it. And, like, Leo likes it, but, like, we'll get to a point where, like, I'll have to be like, hey, the song, I want all of you tonight. Oh, yeah. Give me everything. Because we might not get tomorrow. Yeah. Let's do it.
And it's a great
great bop.
Instant dopamine.
Like, it is a opportunity then when she's, like, the proper age to be like, hey, it's fun to dance, for sure. Like, this is great. It's a bop. I feel old. I feel really old. But, like, this way of living is a terrible idea. And here's why. Like, let's talk about it. I feel like people aren't really, I don't know, this, like, supportive no matter what crap with parenting. It's like, no, like, oh, you want to go into gender studies? Yeah, you're going to make money with that. Like, what's the point of going to college and going into all this debt to study, what, 2 things that have already been proven by biology that there's only 2 in existence? Yeah. Like, it's just it's a mess. Like, if you want to do that as an adult, fine. But all of this is trickling into kids going into drag shows, kids then being forced to identify
that irks me. And it's like, why are you being so
you're so hateful and judgmental,
whatever phobic? And I'm like, no, I don't want a straight person dancing like that in front of my child. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're drag. I don't care who you are. Do not dance like that in front of my child, or we're gonna have issues.
Yeah. And
so it's not phobic. I am inappropriate for my child's age phobic, then fine.
Yeah. And that is parenting, that we should be protecting our kids and what they see and the creeps that we let them be around. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sickened by, like, what's going to happen in, like, 20 years when those kids, like, either they're going to be so crazy indoctrinated with, like, I am a flamingo who wears top hats and that's what I identify, and then, like, you need to give me bedding to, like, take a dump, because, like, that is happening. There are kids, like, in, like, I think Wisconsin who required a cat litter box because they identified as cat. Like, this is
happening in our town.
Is it
at the
really?
schools in our town?
Son of a gun.
Your former town, they passed it.
Shut.
And that's a fairly conservative community.
Stupid. And
it
honestly,
was enough that it caused one parent in that town, this is their first year, he opened up a private school because the public school agreed to that. And not only do they have litter boxes in the bathroom, the teachers are instructed and have no option but to not meow, which is so stupid. If your kid's a cat, they don't need homework and they don't need school. They need to lounge on your couch for the rest of their lives while you
fund their
clean
life.
their
That
poop
is
up.
what pets are.
But the teachers are required to say like, meow, here's your homework, meow. And I'm like, I get goosebumps. I get so mad.
That is.
So he started out with opening assembly. This is just all hearsay from like clients and chair talk. But the salon chair rumor is that he started out this year saying, welcome to our school. We are a school for children. If you're not a child, you're welcome to leave now. And I was like, yes.
I mean, like what you just said was so profound. Like, let's boil it down. You're a cat. Mm-hmm. Great. Go take a dump in a litter box and
at your owner's house.
Yeah. You don't watch TV because cats don't watch TV. Yeah. You don't do any video games because you don't play video games. Yeah. You only eat cat food. Yeah. You eat cat food and that's it. You don't have Oreos. You don't have chips, nothing. And like if you're a house cats never leave the house. Yeah. It's okay. You can't leave. Yeah. Like let's boil this all down.
Yeah. You're either a cat or you're not.
Yeah. And it's so stupid that we need so many, we need bigger problems.
Wait, this is terrible timing, but do you know what just popped into my head?
Yeah, what?
Everybody wants to be a cat.
Because a cat's the only cat.
I tried to get my kids to watch that movie and they do not care.
I tried with Leo and she was like, I watch Toy Story.
You know who else was judging of that movie? My very own husband. He's like, the animation on this has always been trash. And I'm like, you're always trash. So carry on.
Why don't we just watch it together? Okay. But regardless of our beliefs on the Aristocat movie, we don't believe kids can be cats. It's so stupid that we're having this conversation.
Yes.
Again, if you're a grown person and that's your decision, you want to identify as a cat, that's on you. I don't have to call you a cat or meow at you. Or if you're a man who identifies as a woman, what is a woman? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That like I don't have to change my vocabulary and my knowledge on biology to make your emotions to make you feel comfortable. It is not my job to cater to your emotions. It is so effing stupid.
Are you a person?
I'm a person.
Are you a person that breathes?
Yeah.
Then you probably have a worm in your booty.
Oh.
If you have a pulse, you have a parasite. Yeah. So, and it's not because you're dirty and it's not because you're gross and you can wash your hands 75 times a day.
Even if you haven't been to a third world country.
You're going to get worms.
Yep.
So everybody go to Rogershood.com and use the code UTSP10. You'll get 10% off of this kit. It's a beautifully packaged kit. It has everything you need for a 30-day cleanse to get those worms out of you.
All this to say, posted that reel. People are saying that we're hateful, not loving, not supportive, anti-Christian because we're not loving. God is a God of wrath.
He has destroyed the earth lots of times.
Yeah. None of this is new. And yeah, Jesus sat with the sinners, but he didn't say, I love you just the way you are. Yeah. All of your sin. No, he said he called them to repentance. Yeah. And to change their ways. And if he didn't, then he fled from them. He was like, fine, you had your choice. And then he leaves. Mm-hmm. I feel like for one thing, I think it's not Christ-like for Christians to stay so damn silent all the time. Again, pick your battles, but when it comes to kids, leave the kids alone. Yeah. You pervs. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so
Everything
weird.
is too sexualized for a child. They don't need that.
Yeah, no, you made a great point. Like, it's not that I'm transphobic. It's that I don't need grown adults grinding the floor in front of my child. Like, I don't let my kid watch most Disney movies because they're too much.
I tried to watch, I went through all of The Office and I tried to watch Parks and Rec because my thought was like, oh, okay, that makes me laugh. I'm going to start listening to the podcast. There are a lot of strippers on Parks and Rec, so I had to stop watching it in front of, it's just comedic, or they're having
are they doing a re-watch?
Yeah,
Is that what
they're almost done. Yeah, there's a rewatch podcast. I'm like, well, now that I finished, or now that I'm caught up to Office Ladies, I'll go do Parks and Rec because it's funny and I want to see was that improv? Was that not? I love it. But there's a lot of it's so funny, conversations happening, but there's a stripper in the background, but they're talking about government things. And it's as a single or younger married, or let me rephrase that. As a non-mother, don't care. I'm going to watch. I'm I can shut that off and tune it out. As a mother who has small children in the room, I don't want that on my screen.
There's what?
They'll like go have a meeting at a bar and there's a stripper in the background or something. And it sounds like it's funny if you watch it and you don't have kids. And then once you have kids, it's like, oh, this is kind of inappropriate. But also I still think it's funny. So I'm probably going to still watch it, but not until after my kids go to bed. But like, my kids don't need to see that, period.
I think you need to guard your eyes, even if you don't have kids. I'd argue, and this is a side tangent, I think no teenager, no young teenager, early teenager should watch Law & Order SVU.
Yeah.
That is, I think it skews, like I think it messed with my mind for a while.
Yeah.
As a kid, I
think it made me hyper paranoid, but I'm still hyper
paranoid. But also like, I just don't think it's appropriate to like we weren't allowed to talk about sex and our upbringing. Things. That should not be your only conversation about sex should be around Law & Order SVU. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
So that's my hot take.
Kind of a ranty topic, but we would rant about this in a coffee shop, which is the two of us. Yeah. So welcome to our coffee chats.
But it's it is kids. Like they can't defend themselves. They don't they are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if we stay silent, they're going to be taken advantage of. And we're going to be like, oh, it's just everybody's choice, whatever.
Yeah.
Like we have to then be active parents to say like, no, okay, if you're going to do this, I'm going to buy non-Halloween books from Amelia. Or buy accordingly or not. I'm voting with my dollar and I'm not staying silent, particularly on kids things. Like a lot of people just don't know how to argue and defend because they're not used to being pushed back against. Like we've been called every name in the book. You can call me whatever you want. It doesn't bother me, especially when it comes to kids. Because I'm like, no, if you're advocating to cut off kids' genitals and give them puberty blockers that definitely make them sterile and basically never enjoy any sexual pleasure for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
when they're adults, when it's appropriate, guys.
And while we're already angering the internet, it irked me that Taylor Swift was like, oh, signed your childless cat lady. And it's like, yeah, you cannot understand. You can have opinions, I think. And I believe you can have opinions. You can have things. So. But until you have a child, I feel like your say on anything that happens with children is irrelevant.
Oh, I 100% agree.
And the people that I feel like are, and I'm going to throw this at the women, the middle-aged women who are shouting from the rooftops their beliefs don't have children. And I'm like, if you wanted a child, have your own. Don't come after mine.
Yeah. Bam. And
I will raise mine how I want to raise them. Thanks.
I posted on our Instagram. Crap. I want to know what it said. But it was like a couple things that Taylor Swift, who I now like just don't listen to because she makes really bad decisions, and why we listen to someone who makes really bad decisions. But like she said, sign like the cat lady or whatever. And as if it's like a thing to gloat about. Like I know so many women who are 30s, 40s, 50s, not even 30s, 40s and 50s and 60s even. Some like close to me who regret not having kids and make the connection that like I believed that like basically working this corporate job or working this like this job that is just an entry-level job, which is nothing wrong with that. Like I've had plenty of entry-level jobs. But the fact of the matter is like that they prioritize making money and doing the job, thinking that that's like liberation more than just like getting married, finding the one you love and having his children. Like that is something to gloat about. Legacy, like heritage. Like I remember, and this is gonna maybe take a turn, but like I remember when my grandma died and the room was filled because she had 9 kids. Those 9 kids, half of them had kids, and like people were just surrounding her. We all love this woman so much. None of us would have existed without her. Like without her and my grandfather, none of us would have existed. Yeah. And it was like, how many people in the room?
God, it was a lot.
It was like it was packed with people.
It was
we were surrounded her when she died. And that was the moment I was like, I get goosebumps. Yeah. I'm like, that was the moment I realized like I want to be a mother because not because of for my sakes. Like I want somebody to like look back and say like, oh yeah, mom wasn't perfect, but like, man, she loved us. Yeah. And like, she could cook really well, whatever it is. Like I wanted, you seem really, you write your obituary. I did that like a year prior to having Leo. And it was like, you know, I won't share what I put personally, but like it basically was like my grandma's life of like I want like kids who just like when we talk to her, it feels like no one else is in the room, and she just makes you feel so loved and cared about. Yeah. That's what we're trying to protect.
And like, you don't get that by
not having
accident.
Kids. Yeah.
We don't get that by not having kids. You don't get that by accident.
No. Yeah, you're right.
That was very intentional of her to make people treat people the way she did.
Yeah. But it's also like, I swear, like just motherhood and marriage has been just run through the ringer by feminism and the sexual revolution of like, no, be free, have sex with whoever you want. And I'm starting like a huge document of talking about anybody who likes the nerd deep dive of like the history of feminism and the sexual revolution and like what actually happened. Cause I'm reading a couple books about it too. We're going to do a deep dive on that. But like, what is truly empowerment and liberating is like having a partner who like, yeah, we're in the thick of it, but like, I'm not going anywhere. Are you going anywhere? Nope. Okay. We're working this out. And like, and having kids and being like, this is hard, but I'm still going to like, that is like, that's what's important. That's what to brag about, not being a freaking cat lady. Yeah. And I want to say this, that we are not talking about women who have tried to have kids and who
I was going to add that too, and I didn't
want to struggling with infertility.
Something.
Like that is a real epidemic in our country right now, and it's probably it's definitely because of big pharma, big food, big ag. We'll post some resources in the basement.
The people that
in the description.
Well, I would even say the people that so desperately are trying for a baby and want a baby, I think that they already have that heart of a mother.
Yeah.
So I'm not discounting them as like, oh, sorry, you couldn't have kids. Like, no, that isn't so far from my intention. Yeah. I think once you desire children, that's when your heart's like, your heart is a mother.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is not who we're referring to at all. It is the
Taylor Swift of the world.
It is the Taylor Swift of the world who are serial daters, make bad decisions, and glorify and love their cats more than, and value cats more than she does humans. Because like she's saying that by saying, other people's kids, like, take them away if they want to be trans, you transphobic, like take them away, cut off their genitals, make them infertile. And by the way, also these candidates that she's supporting are pro-abortion till after birth. And that is not a scam. That is not not a lie. Like it is a absolute fact that their babies are born like, oh shoot, the abortion didn't work. Let's just leave it on the table and see what happens. Yeah. Like it's Taylor Swift is just evil to her core now, and like Christians especially should not listen to her or care about anything she says. Yeah. Wow, this is I feel like a conversation we've never had on here before, but I'm very passionate about it. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the point of us having this podcast as friends, is so we can, we don't have coffee, so we can drink our coffee and rant.
Imaginary ting.
Well, thanks for chatting with me today.
Thanks for chatting with me. I love you. And we will see you guys on next week's episode. We have some exciting content coming.
Woohoo!
Just you wait. Okay, goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for being with us today. Follow us on Instagram at @underthesun_podcast. We'd love to meet you.
Please help us out by subscribing on YouTube and leaving a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time. Please remember this information is made available to you for informational and educational purposes only. It is in no way a substitute for medical advice.